Today I'll be talking about 3 things you should never expose your computer to. But first, I'm Steve, this is TQA Weekly, and I'll be explaining why these actions are bad for the longevity of your computer, starting with water. Whether it's tap water or distilled water, exposing your computer to water will lead to corrosion. In the case of tap water, you risk electrocution of the circuit and yourself. And if you think distilled water is safe, it will rip minerals from the circuit boards and become conductive itself in a short amount of time. Therefore, not just risking the device itself, but also risking your own health and safety. Therefore, never expose your computer, because the amount of longevity you get out of a computer after it's been soaked really does depend on how much damage the water has done to the circuit boards, whether it's caused corrosion or circuits to be shorted out. The second thing you should never do to a computer is to use a computer that has no thermal paste in between the heat sinks and the processors, whether it be the computer processor or graphics processor. If we refer to my lifeguard training, my instructor did say that in a scenario in which we are going to be facing hypothermia, it is safer for us to be exposed to air than to be exposed to metal and water. Why? Because metal and water are excellent conductors of heat compared to air. Knowing this piece of knowledge, we can actually safely assume that because air is such a poor conductor, even though it can conduct, it is bad for it to be present between your CPU and your heatsink. Therefore, it is actually a better idea to use thermal paste to fill in the gaps and remove the air from the equation itself, allowing for metal-on-metal contact, which is an excellent conductor. In fact, air is such a poor conductor of heat and cold, it is often used as an insulator, not a conductor, especially in double-paned windows. So for anybody out there that has a comment, try me. You have no idea where you're coming from. And the third one is plugging in your computer directly into the wall. You see, at a very minimum, you should be using a surge bar. But a surge bar will not protect your computer from blackouts and brownouts. It will, however, protect your computer from basically a power surge. Now, power surges are rare, but brownouts and blackouts are actually more common. And brownouts themselves pose a significant risk to your computer's cooling and data storage systems, as they intermittently cut power from the processors and the thermal circuits of your computers, leading it to having overheating issues or data loss as a problem. So while your computer may continue to so-called function for a while, even if you're just on a surge bar, I do highly recommend you use an uninterruptible power supply instead. Why? Because you will not risk the cooling system being deactivated by accident on your main board, even temporarily, and you will have better data security as well. Now, like this episode if you like it, dislike it if you didn't, share with those who think can benefit from this, and don't forget to subscribe. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions for topics, email me at ask@tqaweekly.com or go to my website, tqaweekly.com, where you can see the show notes on this episode, past others, find other ways of subscribing, and use the contact form to email me directly. And if you want to see me play video games, go to twitch.tv/zaxis1981, where I'm still currently playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.